I'm just gonna throw this up real quick. You know, these changes for the weapons. Now, that's something that I saw coming. All right, but for this radar stuff and auto aim, right? That's triggering. All right, I'm sorry, but it is. You know, being told for years by literally everybody, doesn't matter who, whether it's gaslighting or but in my case, in my context, I'm sure people were being dead ass serious when they were sitting there saying that there is no auto aim in Star Citizen and all this other stuff, and you're coping and blah 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 blah. Fuck you to Phonos, all this other shit, right? I really have nothing nice to say about that. I really don't. Like, outside, I mean, yeah, it's a good thing that they're gonna, make it more punishing for players, right? But, in my opinion, no ship should come with a radar that has the ability to auto aim. Alright? And I really feel that auto aim needs to be punished by the amount of power blocks it uses, right? Like a standard radar, 2 power blocks, I'm fucking fine with that. But all the the way that it functions at the moment with its current bullet bending and aiming system and all that stuff, right? It needs to be 4 power blocks. It needs to be double the amount of power blocks. So that way they have to sacrifice shields or they have to sacrifice capacitor recharge. Alright? And, and then of course they make it to where life support now requires 2 power blocks, right? So they've already, I've already looked into this. I've already looked at it, and I'm not going to be fooled. I'm not going to be, lied to. I'm not going to be tricked. I'm not going to be duped, deceived, razzle-dazzled, what the fuck ever, right? This company, Kimbu, and all of you that are listening to this right now, right? This company has got a history of constantly saying one thing and doing another, right? All of these changes on the eve of one of their biggest sales, which is the battle cruiser, all right? FPS map the ship cannot be killed by dogfighters. Okay, I think we already had that conversation. I'm pretty sure we did. All right, I have a pretty good memory. All right, I'm not trying to be mean, but I think a lot of you need to like remember that these things that we've talked about in the past. And it's like, that's a good thing, but at the same time, unless there's enough power blocks to actually make sure that all you have to do is turn your fucking life support off, right, in order to have full auto aim. All right. And what I mean by that, so I'm gonna get to where, so Zal doesn't get mad at me, but I'm gonna get here to this part in the conversation we had on Discord, right, where he's talking about this stuff. This is the video that's in question. All right, so we'll watch it together. All right, it's 15 minutes long. All right, and this guy goes on about it. I don't know where in the video he talks about this to save time on this, but we're not going to worry about that. If everyone really wants to talk about this and get my opinion on this, then we'll do a reaction video right now for what this is. All right, so no, I'm not. In fact, we're not going to pause my Morrowind music. I don't want to kill my vibe.
Combat in Star Citizen just got a lot more complex, and it's because engineering systems are finally starting to come online. With this update, radar is no longer just a background component. The radar you install on your ship now determines the range where your aim assist actually works. And the more power you put into your radar through engineering, the further out you can track and engage targets. They also added a huge number of new radar variants which means for the first time, we can actually have real radar customization in Star Citizen. But that's only part of the change. Armor is also now getting a minimum penetration threshold, which means smaller ships and lighter weapons won't be able to just sit at range and slowly chip down heavily armored capital ships anymore. So between radar customization, engineering power management with radar, and this new armor system, ship rolls are about to matter a lot more than they ever have before. 4.7 is looking to be one of the biggest patches Star Citizen has ever come up with. And if you agree with me, let me know down below.
Well, I kind of don't agree, because I think a lot of this stuff, like, I got these people's numbers, guys, alright? And when it comes to this stuff, like, I'm gonna just be fucking real with y'all. This is stuff that they have sat on for literal fucking years. And I don't mean that just like that I'm being dead serious, alright? Like, this is the problem. This is one of the drawbacks being around in a gaming community for 15 fucking years, alright? Not only do you know the people in the game and you learn their behavior patterns, right? But you also learn the behavioral patterns and the financial patterns of a company, right? So again, these changes are good, yes. Objectively, they are good. But I, as an individual gamer, cannot get over the amount of fucking lies for the last 8 years on this topic with CIG, right? You know, we went from a game that had an aiming system to where you actually had to be good at aiming, alright? Then, in order to mask what they were fixing to do, they intentionally broke ESP, alright? Then, they fucked up the ESP algorithm by not taking into account all these multitudes of factors that all these little ships have, like the Snub Fighter, the Arrow, right? The pattern of Avenger 1's, you know, behavior literally validates everything I'm saying when it comes to this fucking topic, right? He knew the same things that I knew, alright? And you compound that with positional dogfighting, you compound that with auto-aim, right? And then you compound that on top of all that with the rotation value of light fighters, right? All these decisions were made specifically to amplify the power of a light fighter in order to make those sales. Do y'all understand me? CIG is a corrupt video game company when it comes to this aspect of reality. That is the fucking timeline. That is the fucking history. That is, you know, the truth. Alright? And you know, all these other guys, regardless of how we all feel about each other, right? They can go sit in their fucking corner and jack themselves off. Alright? As far as I'm concerned. Alright? Everyone that's been around long enough knows this. Alright? And these groups of people have kept it a secret from everyone else. Alright? And on top of the fact, they don't want to acknowledge the handicaps that they have been using to, air quote, be superior to everyone else around them. Which is the crux of my attitude problem when it comes to this topic. Okay? No, they are not superior to me. I've proven it. Alright? Not just with knowledge, but with strategy. Strategy was the only thing that I had in my toolbox. Just like Batman, it was the only thing in my fucking toolbox that I had to go against this shit. Alright? And then, when all that ran out, and I ran out of options, right? It's like, the only recourse for me at that point was the Idris. Because how the fuck else am I supposed to deal with zerging dogfighters using all of those stacked modifiers against me? I can't win. And if you people don't think that CIG did that on purpose, then you and I are gonna have a fucking problem. I don't care if you're a content creator, I don't care if you're my friend, I don't care if you're my enemy. If you don't have the ability to recognize the reality around this topic, then you and I, whoever the fuck you may be, are going to have an actual fucking problem. And on top of that, if you do know this stuff, like I do think most people do know, right? And you give feedback specifically to keep it in place, because losing any of this stuff in any context is going to handicap and hamstring anyone else's organization, then yes, that is blood in the water for me. All right, that is literally showing me how fucking weak you are. All right, doesn't matter who it is. Okay, you know, the arguments that people have used against me do not hold water. All right, the arguments that people have tried to use against me do not hold water. I can kick your ass in a fucking light fighter if I so goddamn fucking choose and fucking desire. And I want everyone to understand that. All right, period. And if it doesn't matter what I can fly everything in this fucking game and be efficient with it, simply because I know what it can and cannot fucking do. Alright? And based on that reality and based on those presets, right? It's like, you know, because I understand that the heavy fighter can't compete, right? Because I understand the medium fighter can't compete, right? I didn't go down the thought process of, oh, well, I've got to be in a light fighter in order to compete. Like, fuck that, right? There's no competition in a game or in any type of an environment like this where only light fighters are allowed to dogfight, right? Medium fighters and heavy fighters simply just don't have a place. Auto aim means nothing if you can't rotate on your target and hit them. And all these guys know that. Alright? I don't believe that if you have a light fighter, I truly don't believe you should have auto aim in a light fighter. I truly think that you should be punished the fucking hell using auto aim on a light fighter. I'm talking, it doesn't matter what you put in there for components, doesn't matter how you try to balance it out, you will never run full power in a light fighter if you use auto aim. That's what I personally want to see. Alright? I don't want to see fucking medium fighters run around at full power with auto aim. But heavy fighters should. Let me say that again. But heavy fighters should. Problem. Now we have a situation to where I am suggesting, right, that size 2 power plants are a fucking minimum for auto aim. Right? And by that logic, anything that uses a size 2 power plant is going to be able to do it, right? Well, the Mark IIs use size 2 power plants, do they not? Right? You see where I'm going with this? You see, CIG knows that they're fixing to start selling the Glaive. Again, CIG knows that they're going to start selling, you know, all these upgraded Mark II ships with bigger power plants, right? So if medium fighters are now being given size 2 power plants, right? Of course the Mark II Glaive is going to have a size 2 power plant, right? And that means that the Glaive will be able to auto aim and light fighters won't. Alright? And I'm not sitting here saying that being biased. I'm not sitting here saying that, you know, just to be like, oh fuck, this is what I want to do to them. No, this is what I'm saying because it makes fucking sense, does it not? And then when you compound that with the financial decisions the company's gonna make, right? Then all of a sudden, light fighters no longer are viable, right? Because the only thing they have is rotation value at that point. So skill is going to be determined based on, you know, if you can hit your target or not, right? That's what they base their skill on, right? What I'm trying to explain to all of you as calmly as I fucking can is that this doesn't fix the overall problem with people auto aiming. It's just something that is going to be a handicap for the light fighter people. All right, I won't even say mafia, whatever, even though they really are mafia. Clearly, they're all renegade squadron, regardless if they want to admit it or not, right? You know, every single tactic they fucking use, every single thing they try, their standards that they use, the entire 9 yards. It's all of it is fucking renegade squadron. All right, and it's like, I just don't want to have this conversation with anyone. I really don't. It really upsets me to the core, right? That, all of you still don't seem to like grasp that this is what they're going to do, right? This is my prediction, if you will, right? When it comes to this topic. Thus, invalidating Mark 1s, right? And essentially forcing people to either up ship or, spend more money into the fucking game to maintain their competitive status. Alright?
The sponsor of this video, once again, is you. If you're enjoying the content, hit that sub button. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Engineering gameplay, shield balance. Increased overall shield health. Again, they are constantly going back and forth with this. Interesting. Increased overall shield health. Shield variances have been brought.
He said it, not me.
A little closer together. Energy weapons will now damage shields more. Oh boy. All right, there's that balance between ballistics and repeaters again. They're trying to heavily balance them. Ballistics are literally the meta right now. Everyone's using them. They're a little bit OP, but they're not nerfing ballistics. They're pulling repeaters up to ballistics. Good. I like this. Armor balance. There's now a minimum damage threshold for projectiles penetrating vehicle armor. This means that ship rolls will play a much higher part in damaging higher armored ships. Armor at full health will block certain projectiles from damaging armor, ship, and components. Solo Idris owners, if you get in a Solo Idris, I'm gonna kick your butt. You understand? Don't you dare. Don't do it. That's not nice. Okay? We know we know you're the big dog. Don't do it. Okay.
Eat my ass. All right. If I have to undock the Idris, I will. Right. And that's the point I'm trying to make with all of you. Okay.
Armor brought down to a lower health state will allow smaller bullets to damage the ship and components. Okay, very cool. Life support. Ooh. Increase life support costs to maintain atmosphere. Decrease the exchange rates from life support to the room. Decrease the exchange rates between rooms.
Now, see, he's sitting here not looking at it. This is my problem, Zal. Right? This is a guy that he's not taking into account, like all of you ain't taking into account, right? That, yeah, you increase the cost to maintain life support, right? To balance out the fact that you can turn off life support still in a dogfighter and run your fucking bigger radar that can still auto aim. That is the literal first thing that I'm going to point the fuck out here. All right? So, no, I don't want to see dogfighters be able to turn off their life support to be able to fucking keep auto aiming. All right? That's the first fucking problem when it comes to this.
Wow. So if you want to be in a ship without atmosphere or without life support, and you don't put enough pips into life support, you're gonna suffer without a helmet on. Like,
oh, thank God we're all wearing helmets, right? Thank God everyone's wearing a spacesuit all the time, right?
It's not gonna be good. Room to room, all of that stuff. That's a big change too. That's a big change.
that is such a nothing burger change.
Change 2. Okay. Radar. Assigned power effects. Oh, this is insane. Assigned power affects the aim assist. Increased power demand for all radars. Activation power is either the same or lower. CS is only picked up on ping. Wait, what? Wait a minute. CS is only picked up on ping.
That means cross section for the retarded.
CS. So when I click the scan button and someone has a crime stat, it'll be picked up if I press the scan button. Cross section.
Cool.
Oh, I thought that was crime stat. Oh.
If only. If only. Right, boys?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's cross section. Yeah. Okay. New radar items created that should be available in game. Radar based aim assist.
All right, so again, assigned power affects the aim assist. Increased power demand for all radars. Keyword there is all radars. All right.
This range now tied to installed radar. That is so that's so weird to me. So if you have a bad radar and you're trying to fight someone from a long distance away, you don't get as much aim assist.
Right. It's called rate fighting for the retarded, right? For all of you that claim to be like, what is this guy? 5K subscribers, doesn't even know the basics of dogfighting. Yeah, typical.
Ship aim assist is now governed by the radar equipped in your vehicle rather than applying uniformly at a fixed distance. The effective engagement window is determined by the power tier and model of your installed radar. Radar matters now, heavily. Wow. This game's cooking, man. It's so good. Defining both the minimum and maximum distance at which aim assist activates. Upgrading to a higher grade radar will extend the range at which aim assist engages targets, while smaller or lower powered units will support assist only at closer combat distances. They added radar. Yep, they added radar components. Yep, they did. This is where engineering's starting to take shape now, guys. Like, they talked about this tier 0. Everyone hates it, but you got to start at tier 0 and then you work your way up. I like the way they're doing things personally. Okay. New radar variants added. A large number of new radar variants have been added across multiple manufacturers and ship sizes, size 0s through size 3, significantly expanding loadout customization options. Each variant has been individually tuned with distance aim assist range profiles to reflect its grade and intended role. Recon-focused units tend to prioritize extended engagement windows, while combat-optimized models offer tighter, more aggressive assist profiles. Wow.
So basically, again, stealth radars versus light fighter radars. So again, this is a buff to stealth. For those of you that don't understand that deadbolts are a thing, now do you understand why deadbolts are a fucking thing?
Wow. Okay. The following manufacturers have new radar variants available. Ballistic has size 1 and size 2 combat models, including the Prophet and Cassandra variants. CHC-0 has an expanded size 0s through size 4 lineup, including full spec, broad spec, and observer variants across multiple grades. Dude, we have more loot. I love loot. This is so cool, dude. Garuda Gorenberg has size 0s through size 3, including the Tige, Vigilance, Savior, Fidel, and Resolute and Devow models. Okay, whatever. Has size 1 and size 2 sensor arrays, including blah 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 and extended variants. Willen now has size 3. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. Okay, wow. Guys, this patch is massive. This patch is massive, guys. Wow. This is all the old stuff for the Evocati notes. Inventory has a 2-panel loadout. Dude, all right, what else is new here? Bug fixes. Potential fix, multi-system PU inventory rework, inventory UI.
All right, well, I think that's enough of watching this, right? He's gone over exactly, you know, essentially what I wanted him to go over in the first 8 minutes. So kudos to this guy for the no bullshit, you know, in-depth analysis here. Anyway, so again, like, I just want to point out that, you know, I'm not 100% sold on all of this, right? If these changes do stand, right, and CIG actually grows a fucking backbone against the Light Fighter Mafia for a change, right? And understand that, you know, their entire weakness as a group of people is deliberately, you know, rotates around the fact that they want to stay competitive, right? And if I know that, right, you know, CIG knows that, all of you that are not retarded over here know that, right? So, quite frankly, if they're telling them to go kick cans, right, go touch grass, then good. All right. So what does this mean for the overall grand picture of, like, so what does this change look like, right? So what does this change actually look like? So the first thing, I was just sitting here checking. Hang on, let me just mute that, and we're gonna skip over to here. So basically, what Zal was doing to stay away from my cannons, right? And he didn't have to, right? Because he can clearly out-rotate me, but this is just for demonstration purposes on what this means for the change, right? So as you can see, Zal is at 1.4, 1.5 kilometers, right? And he's still fucking hitting me with his goddamn repeaters, all right? And it's like, this is what we call rate fighting. Or distance fighting. In fact, you know what? Fuck that. I don't even know what these guys are calling it, right? But regardless, all he's doing is staying at maximum range and pelting away at me with the strategy that has been used against other bigger ships in the game, which is stay outside of their ability to hit you and just peck them down until, you know, they pop. Essentially, this ability for the Gladius is going to go away, right? Unless they actually have one of these new radars, they won't be able to fight at distance. But let's be clear, it doesn't need to fight at distance. It can just out-rotate you, right? So if it's out-rotating you, right, and you can't hit and you can't shoot back at it because you as a player cannot, you know, rotate on target, right? Then like, again, like I say, like what exactly does this change in the context of dogfighting for the light fighter abuse, right? And in my opinion, it doesn't change anything. You don't need auto aim when you're that close to your target, and if it can out rotate you, right, and you can't rotate back on it and get shots, then what, like where's the balance there? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like where are the blades, right, for the medium fighters in order to increase their rotation values so that they don't get completely dumpstered and shreked by goddamn light fighters, right? That is what is needed, in my opinion, in order to actually justify these changes, right? Because again, a light fighter will always be able to out-rotate its opponent, right? So you having auto-aim isn't going to help you against that situation. It doesn't matter if you're in a medium that can have it or a fucking heavy that can have it, right? You know, even with a blade system, I don't see, you know, a heavy fighter being able to out-rotate a light fighter. I just never see that. I don't think that'll ever happen, right? I mean, when it comes to medium fighters, when it comes to medium fighters, I just simply don't believe that a light fighter should be able to just continuously beat it consecutively. Just being able to sit in what is known as the pocket, right? And your opponent's trying to rotate on you, right? And you know, you as another fighter are just sitting here just being like, nope, can't hit me, nope, can't hit me, nope, can't hit me, nope, can't hit me, nope, can't hit me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you prevent a light fighter from being able to keep, you know, staying on top of you, right? And under the current conditions for tuning and for all medium class and heavy class fighters, you just simply don't, right? So the radar change doesn't really do much of anything in the context of that, right? But when it comes to the other fighters, right? Yeah, it's gonna make more of a difference. But you know, just taking away the ability for a light fighter to auto aim at the cost of weapon capacitor, for example, or shields, is not good enough. They're just gonna kill you slower, right? That's all it is. And you know, that's all I want to say. That's all I want to point out, right? Good for a lot of things, but it's not really it's not there yet, right? We still if this is the route CIG is going to go, then they have to put the blade system in for medium fighters in order to be able to defend themselves from light fighters. And I don't care what any of the others say. As far as I'm concerned, they're retarded, and they don't, and you know, I just don't fucking, you know, care what they say. All right, they sat here for years and gaslit and fucking lied about auto aim and all this other shit, right? So of course, any type of a change that's going to take away any of their edge or any of their ability is something that they're going to highly protest against, and it's something that they're highly going to do everything in their little, you know, backdoor wallet power to prevent from happening. All right, and now cannons. So when it comes to the cannon situation with these new changes, right? You know, they don't have enough capacitor. They recharge too slow, right? So, you know, I've been advocating for years for cannons to be more viable, right? And right now, they're not viable. You know, the deadbolt is only viable because it's a ballistic weapon, all right? That's it. And, you know, glaive cannons have been nerfed into the fucking ground, as, you know, Kimbu saw, as Zal saw, right? If y'all even watched that, right? If it's taken me 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes to kill, you know, a transport, you know, thing, whatever, Asgard, Valkyrie, whatever it was, right? That's something fundamentally wrong with that. I'm sorry, but there is, right? If I'm literally killing the same target in 30 seconds flat, or even quicker in some cases with the F7A, right? So I don't want to hear anyone try to tell me that the glaive is in a good spot, or it's balanced, or cannons are balanced. No, cannons have been nerfed into the fucking ground, and the TTK versus a Mark II F7A versus the glaive is as apparent and is as fucking clear as day for anyone with objective eyes to see. There is no bias here. I'm good with everything, remember? All I'm pointing out is that the TTK on human ships with auto aim clearly, it kills things in a fourth of the time compared to a glaive. Alright? So yes, in order for cannons to be viable, recharge rate has to increase and capacitors have to increase. Otherwise, it ain't worth running them. I have spoken.